Agenda is a public hearing for 180 degrees to approve a project.
Good evening, Commissioners. Chairman Tyne, my name is Travis Granzi. I am the Olmsted County Administrator, and I'll just kick this topic off tonight. This is a project, 180 Degrees has been working on a construction project basically to rebuild their shelter over the course of the last several years. In August of last year, we were before you for a public hearing because Olmsted County has a responsibility, this Board of Commissioners has a responsibility to authorize additional funding for this project. And in August of 2024, this board authorized basically the city of Iota to issue $7 million worth of bonds for 180 Degrees to move forward with constructing a new shelter on their property. The request before you tonight is to approve an additional $3.75 million, so $3,750,000 for them to complete that project. So basically what we need to do is have a public hearing then, where we're able to hear from anybody that's got any comments on this, authorize this from your perspective, which then really just gives the city of Iota the authority that they need to authorize the issuance of the conduit bonds so that the city of Iota ends up being the one that's responsible. The city of Iota is also the one that uses their bond authority with the state of Minnesota then to get these funds authorized. So because Iota is within Olmsted County, that's why you all are required to take some action.
Okay. All right, with that, I need somebody to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Move to open the public hearing.
Can I get a second? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody like to speak for or against this? Come on up, sir, introduce yourself.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jeremy O'Hara. I'm one of the Associate Directors for 180 Degrees, and I've been working with the shelter in Rochester for just under 5 years now. And I just want to give you guys an update on the project. We ended up breaking ground around December 2024. Currently, they're working on installing the drywall on the project. The plan is to be finished around October, November of this year, and then we're hoping to get into the building right around the first of the year, so January 2026. Also, we're going to be doing a hard hat tour on June 6th or June 5th, and I have some flyers I'd like to hand out to you guys at some point if you guys are interested in coming and attending that as well to see the new shelter and see the old shelter and be able to see the difference. So
Sure, you can hand those out. That's
awesome.
fine. Yep, thank you. All right, thank you. Anybody else like to speak for or against this? Second time, anybody like to speak for or against this? Third and final time, anybody like to speak for or against this?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, discussion, motions?
I move to approve the 180-degree project. I'm not sure about the wording, but to approve the bonding process.
Sounds good. Can I get a second? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay. Next up is the consent agenda. Approve Olmsted County Board minutes from May 6th. Transfer excess municipal funds. Approve ROCOG and MnDOT agreement. Safety Action Plan 055-589-001 IIJA match funding. Designate Deputy Clerk of the County Board. Approve the Whatever It Takes grant agreement amendment. And finally, accept the Mobile Crisis Startup Grant from the Minnesota Department of Human Services.
Move to approve the consent agenda in block.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Chair,
Oh,
I would like to vote no on B. So, Mr. Chair, can I amend the motion to exclude B?
That'd be fine with me.
okay, so you're fine with that? Okay, so we have a motion to approve the consent agenda other than B. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay, would you like to discuss B?
Mr. Chair, I'm not going to make, we've talked about this one. I just happen to believe this money was appropriated by the state legislature to cities, and and it's a may. We don't have to do this. I would just soon see this money stay with the local communities, and it could if we didn't take it. So I would just await a motion, and I'll vote my no, and we'll be done.
Okay, can I get somebody to move to approve B?
Move to approve letter B of the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, carries. All right, informational items. City of Chatfield update. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. It's an honor to be here, and I appreciate the invitation to share a little information about Chatfield. Chatfield. My name is Michelle Peterson, and I'm the City Administrator. I've been in Chatfield for about 1.5 years now. So our theme this year is we're building the city one piece at a time, and we're taking a look at every little thing and seeing how we can make things fit together and really trying to think outside of the box. Our priorities this year, housing. I'm sure I'm not the first city to tell you that. But how do we incentivize that? Our hotel, attracting new businesses, and then marketing our community, something I think we haven't done enough of. I think it's a pretty neat little hidden gem there. Help? It's not advancing.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. So with housing, we're looking at, do we look at infill lots? Do we look at annexation? Do we take land that's used for something else now, whether that's commercial or parkland? Just how do we try to think outside of that box a little bit? And then most importantly, what type of housing? So do we need single-family homes? Do we need multi-family homes? Medium density, low density, all of those good questions, and what fits best with the character of our community and the needs of our community. A hotel. I probably sound like a broken record to some of you, but we're still looking for a hotel. We still think that's something that we're missing in our community. Of course, to do that, we need to talk about tax abatement, and we'd like to talk about that with the Olmsted County Board. So I know you guys have been in discussions with your staff, but I just want to reiterate that's still a priority for our community, and that is a huge economic tool that could benefit us in many ways. So we talked a little bit projects. What do we have on our radar? Just like a lot of you, road projects. We had a project scheduled for 2025. We're going to actually move that up because we can do so much more and save so much money by doing it this year. We can do an additional 8.5 blocks. We're also looking at a project of 18 alleys to be resurfaced this year and sidewalks. So lots of infrastructure work and trying to keep up with the demand. Big thing we're looking at is our goals versus what's reality. What do we have the power to control? And two of those things that jump out at me is a housing incentive. So we're working on that right now. Part of that discussion is that incentivizing the developers to come to Chatfield? Or is it incentivizing the buyers? And maybe it's a twofold. How do we help reduce those lot costs? That helps both the buyers and the developers. The other thing we're looking at is our rate structures for our utility billing, kind of looking at old practices and maybe switching to a newer version with tiered rates that incentivizes or encourages, I just lost my word. Nope. Not using as much water.
Conservation?
There you go, thank you, sorry. One of the things that I think we really haven't touched on in Chatfield a lot is our outdoor recreation. We have an extensive number of parks, which is a fabulous thing. We actually have 64 acres that's currently dedicated to parkland. We are also taking a look at potentially adding another 70 acres because we see that importance. We see how great that could be to our community. That would be walking trails, a mowed trail, a paved trail, perhaps a campground. And this could tie into some additional opportunities in our town. So one is the Lost Creek Hiking Trail. That is a hiking trail that is run by volunteers completely. It's a wonderful opportunity if you ever have the chance and enjoy that. They also have the Chatfield ATV Trail. They are also working on expansion. So again, just another different type of outdoor activity that you can do in our beautiful area. Can't forget to mention our pool, just a few years old now, but very nice facility. And then I wasn't sure if you've heard about this in your region, but there is a discussion about creating a regional hiking trail that would go from Chatfield to Caledonia. If you haven't heard those discussions, I'd encourage you to take a look at it. It's a pretty neat and really out of the box idea that they're working on, and I know they've been going to every community and holding community forums to get people educated on that. Lastly, I just wanted to touch, because this is kind of special and unique, Chatfield has their own fire department, their own ambulance, and their own police department. Our ambulance is only one of 3 non-Mayo Clinic services in Olmsted County. We're currently staffed by 20 volunteers. That includes our full-time director, a full-time assistant director, and just last year our council approved adding a part-time EMT. Again, just because we recognize the importance of having that service in our community. We average about 400 calls per year and have 2 trucks that run regularly. So it is definitely a needed service. Our Chatfield Fire Department is also fully staffed with 26 volunteers. Ordered a new truck that should be coming in a couple of years because it takes a little while nowadays. And finally, the Chatfield Police Department, who is also fully staffed. Chief of Police and 4 full-time officers and 3 part-time officers. Of course, we're always looking to expand those opportunities, but I think our council and our community very much value having these services in Chatfield as part of our community. That is all I have. So thank you very much for your time, unless there's any questions from the board.
These hiking trails, are they on private land, government-owned land, or?
The Lost Creek Hiking Trail, I believe, is majority on private land. The regional discussion would be a combination of both. They are looking for landowners that would like to be a part of that, but then there's also some coordination with current state easements.
Sure, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have somebody that could probably evaluate those hiking trails. I've looked at that, and I've looked at the brochures. I think that for people that like to be outdoors and like scenery and stuff, that the possibilities of those hiking trails would be really good. And it is a unique area that we have geologically as well as topography. So good luck with that.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
Is that-
We got one
is
more.
that- How is the Performance Center doing, and do you manage that out of your office in terms of,
We do not.
okay,
So the Chatfield EDA actually owns we'll say Potter Auditorium or
Sure.
the Chatfield Center for the Arts. They lease that to the Chatfield Center for the Arts Incorporated. So that's a
Okay.
separate nonprofit entity that runs the business. They are doing well. They just hired a new executive director. So I think they're on a right path now to have somebody permanently in place and provide direction for their board.
and so that group is responsible for recruiting the shows and things like that?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think they've been doing a great job. We've had all kinds of different shows this year.
great.
Trampled by turtles?
Yeah, a little coordination between our law enforcement agencies as well for that, so that's been
Great,
Thank
Good.
you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, a legislative update.
Chairman Tyne, Commissioners, Travis Granzy again, the Olmsted County Administrator, here with just a real brief legislative update. Actually, we put this on the calendar, thinking that, the end of session was yesterday, and maybe we'd have a really good legislative report for you. And I'll just provide a couple of updates. I mean, as you know, the session did not conclude yesterday. Well, it did, but nothing happened yet. And so hot off the press, I mean, I did just receive some additional information, so I'll share a little bit of that with you. But What we've learned is that Governor Walz is going to call a special session once budget bills have been negotiated and reached final agreement. So that's kind of the state of where things are at right now. And there are working groups that started meeting today. It sounds like one of them did. And according to the caucus leaders' agreement, says that working groups should function much like a conference committee, including holding public hearings. So hopefully we'll see some public hearings that occur. And then the internal deadline that they've set for the chairs to reach agreement with one another is 5 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday, May the 21st. So we'll see what kind of progress they make on that. There's a lot that's still up in the air. Some bills did get passed yesterday before the session concluded. A few that we continue to track. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, I was before you and talked some about the cost shifts that we were bracing for and concerned about. I'd say that we don't have any resolution on those at this point in time. And so we're still watching, and we'll be actively sharing our voice with the legislature around those things because we are still concerned about them. The other thing that, I don't know, within the last 2 hours here, I also received a note suggesting that the county program aid cuts are back on the table again. So I mentioned that maybe the last time we were together 2 weeks ago, and probably about a week ago, that was off the table and sounded like it wasn't anything we needed to be worried about. But as of about 4:15 today, they're back on the table. So again, something that we'll be watching and bracing for, frankly. If those dollars are impacted, we know what it'll mean for us here locally. And the last thing I'll mention is just the bonding bill. I know that a number of you heard about this a little bit earlier today too from Jennifer Berkwam. But we are still hopeful that there's a possibility that some of our projects might get included in a bonding bill. So more to come on that, but I think that, well, clearly I've stood up here for 2 minutes and I haven't really said a lot because we really don't know a lot yet. But that's your update for today. We'll obviously be tracking this closely and we'll share additional information with you and the community as soon as we have it. So,
Questions? Thank you, Travis.
all right, thank you.
All right, moving right along, discussion decision items. The only thing on the agenda is approved changes to chapter 2150 of the county's code of ordinances regulating the use and display and sale of cannabis and cannabis-derived products in the county.
Evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me again. Just going to do a quick run through. I know most of you have heard this presentation already, so I'm just going to recap a little bit about really highlighting the changes from our special session on Thursday to now, and then kind of go from there if there are any questions. So again, the proposed ordinance covers lottery notice, what our timeline is for collecting applications, what our timeline is for kind of reviewing those applications, and what we're going to require within those applications for the lottery. So you'll notice a change, that last bullet point, the capitalization table that's submitted to OCM. We're going to utilize that to gather ownership and interest information. Again, avoid a little bit of duplication. Since our applicants are already providing this to the state, we can kind of review that as through our application process as well. So we won't be asking for additional information around those ownerships because that capitalization table is quite extensive. So thank you for some of our business industry folks that were able to provide that and really let us take a look. So just moving on, again, lottery fee is mentioned here. We'll be setting this at a later date. We're going to be meeting with our internal county staff, specifically in the PRL department and our election staff, to really kind of assess what costs might look like utilizing internal staff, and then we can set that fee through a future resolution, but we're not envisioning that to be a significant cost. Common control and transfer. So there no changes to this section from the Thursday session, but again, preventing the transfer of transfer of registrations in the event that a business might not make it, we would ask for any potential new applicants to register, and we would kind of go through a lottery process for those open registrations, opposed to selling registrations or transferring registrations in any aspect. But do want to highlight here, we talked a little bit about, and I'll bring it up in a different, actually future section, but again, for reviewing the application, setting the timeline of 20 business days that we'll complete it. We did add the language up to 20 business days. We're gonna try to be as quick in our review process as possible, and distributing that to the various departments for review, so we can continue to move that process along. We will allow 10 business days to make any corrections to those applications, and if any deficiencies are noticed, we'll contact that applicant, and we'll encourage them to do it as soon as possible, but allow that 10 business days. If it's not fixed within those 10 business days, the application will be denied at that point. Lottery selection, so again, we changed this language to allow county staff to conduct the lottery or utilize a third-party organization as well. This will be at a public meeting, so folks can attend the lottery itself. We'll announce the location, date, and time. It'll be during regular business hours, and we'll make sure to give 2 weeks' notice for that lottery so folks can attend if they choose. Again, for the lottery itself, we'll be separating applications into 3 groups: micro business, retail endorsement, and mezzo businesses with a retail endorsement. Micro businesses with a retail endorsement, mezzo businesses with a retail endorsement, and cannabis retailers. This is a change from the Thursday session to just properly capture that the medical cannabis combination businesses and medical cannabis businesses with a retail endorsement aren't subject to our cap, but they are subject to registration. So you'll see that reflected in this slide, where we move that one registration that we did have set aside for those medical combination businesses, and bump that registration to the micro businesses. So you'll see a distribution of 8 for the micro businesses, 4 for cannabis retailers, and 2 for the mezzo businesses. And that's based off of some just initial statistics at the state level in terms of applications. If we receive insufficient numbers of applications for any of those subtypes, we'll kind of pool them together in a joint lottery to determine who gets that open registration, essentially. All right. Again, applicants aren't required to be present. We just need their information to enter them into the lottery. So if they alert us that they can't make that particular date, we'll make sure that they're included in the lottery process. We will select alternates for each of the categories. So again, if someone is not able to open going to that third bolded bullet point, then we have an alternate to pull from instead of having to conduct a whole new lottery every single time. So those alternates we have being valid for 18 months if they so choose. Again, they can come off our list if they so choose. We did amend this from Thursday's special session, where we'll give businesses 6 months to begin operation when they receive that registration. And they'll be able to get a 90-day extension, again, if they have cause. So speaking with some of the businesses, they actually did want to kind of condense that time period so registration isn't held up for such a significant period of time. The last bullet point there is mentioning that we do have an administrative and appeals ordinance. It's our Chapter 4000 that we'll utilize for cannabis as well. Again, going to the medical cannabis aspect, we had to clean up a little bit of language within it to just make sure that we were aligned with state statutes. So this is what this slide is reflecting. And in a nutshell, that it captures the changes, but I just want to make sure I take time to thank our local industry. We had the opportunity to meet with them and kind of throughout this process collaborate with our local industry and really get input from them. Along with thanking the team. We had a lot of departments working on this and a lot of staff working on this. And then thank you all for kind of walking the journey with us too. So. with that, that's all I got, and if there's any questions.
Questions? Well, I'd like to thank you guys too. You guys did a great job. This has been a long process and really led us along, so thank you on that.
Very welcome.
All right, no questions? Can I get a motion then?
Move to approve the changes to Chapter 2150 of the County Code of Ordinances regulating the use and display and sale of cannabis and cannabis-derived products in the county.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you. Okay. Now we're moving right along. Board and committee reports. Let's start with you, Greg.
I have no report, thank you.
Laurel.
I have no report.
Maybe one little piece of legislative news that did pass, and that is that, I believe it passed. It certainly was approved, yeah, what we call the conference committee report passed. But it included, within the framework of $1 million, priority status to about 5 different organizations for that $1 million, and the George Stoppel Farm was one of them. So it'll help just a little bit.
Well, that's a lot.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good.
Great. So,
No report.
Brian. No report. Bob.
No report.
Boy, not much reporting. All right, I got a short quote from historian Joan Wallach Scott. She said that those who expect moments of change to be comfortable and free of conflict have not learned their history.
Move to adjourn.
All right, second?